see my screen. I don't know if there are emojis on Zoom. Just type in a thumbs up. I believe everyone should be able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see a screen.
Yes, you can. Amazing. So today, we'll be talking about something very interesting that we need as designers. It's one thing we cannot do without. So we need to really understand how to make it or how to create it. So we'll be talking about understanding and creating user personas. Understanding and creating user personas. Okay. So it's nice to meet everybody. I'll get to know you as we proceed in today's session. I am Dami. As Mabel said, I'm a UI UX designer and educator, and I'm also the founder of CCK Zone, which is an NGO that trains kids in technology for free. So today, what would we be talking about? We'll be talking about what is a user persona, why do we need it, what are the different perspectives or maybe different types of user personas, what should a user persona consist of, and how to create a user persona. So before I proceed, can anyone, like, does anyone have a previous idea of what they understand by user personas? Have you heard the word before? And when you heard the word, like, what did they say it meant, or what did you read about it? So can someone just give me a brief explanation? If you want to talk, you can talk in the comment section, in the chat section, I mean, and you can as well let me know if you want to unmute yourself and just answer my question.
Yeah, you just raise your hand and I will mute you. The virtual hands, actually. Any takers? Anyone who has an understanding of user persona?
A previous understanding of what user personas are, what they're about. Anybody?
Okay, that's Lillian. Go ahead. Yes, Lillian. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think a user persona is just basically getting information about a user or the user. Like you just create like an image, like you just imagine, I don't know how to put it, like just create an imaginary person and then you just
Okay. All right. So what's your name again?
That's Lillian.
Lillian. Right. Okay. So that was very close. Yes, you're on the way. That's a very good one. Thank you. Okay, Ayomide wants to try. Please go ahead.
Okay, a lot of people have their hands raised before Ayomide, so I'm going to call on.
All right.
Let me see. Valerie. Yes, Valerie, go ahead.
Hi.
Go ahead. Valerie.
I think a user persona is basically a character based on research that represents who you think your typical user might be, who would use your product on an ideal day.
Yes, interesting. That is also correct. Well done, well done. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else?
Yes,
I want
we are.
open.
Hi. Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
Stan, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So in my own opinion, and understanding, the user persona is sort of a fictional character, a person whereby you get to talk about, um, get to collect details of a particular person, maybe the location, what the person does, the person's name, the person's age, the person's interest, so as to use the information to uh to create a user story, or I don't know how to put
Yes.
it.
Okay. Yeah. You're also on the right track. Thank you very much, everybody. So yes, let me say we all are correct, or we have an idea. We know what this is, and I want to appreciate us for all our insights. Peter wrote that creating categories of potential customers based on different criteria. Yes, that's good, so Peter. Thank you. All right. So, um, what is a user persona? A user persona is a semi-fictional character based on your current or ideal consumer or customer, right? A user persona is a semi-fictional character based on your current or ideal customer. Let's have that at the back of our mind. In simple words, I know the previous slide might be a bit serious for like some of us, or we don't even understand, or what are you saying, semi-fictional, all those English is too much. In simpler words, user personas represents real living people. Take note of that, real living people who would engage with your service or your products. All right. So as a designer, whenever you're creating something, there has to be real people that you intend to use that service or that product, right? You're not just designing for one imaginary spirit somewhere. There has to be real users, real set of people, okay? So you need to think of these people as you need to think of your user persona, right? As a designer, if you're creating a product, your market share or whatever might be, okay, I'm looking at having 1 million potential users. But what a user persona helps you to do is to create or to be able to pick or make one template of a user that you can use as a sketch, all right? That can be your sketch of a typical customer or a potential user. So anyone can pick up that sketch or that persona, right, and look at it and say, okay, so and so person's design is targeted at users that are like this or similar to this that I have that I'm looking at right now. All right. So user persona represents the different user types that might use your service, product, your site, or your brand in a similar way. All right. So when I was carrying out this, or while I was preparing for the slide, I took ideas from like different articles, both online but offline, from my own personal research and like from the other people I have taught so far. Okay, so all of these things are not my own words. They are standards that people will have created. Okay, um, so so just understand them, and we would divide each and every one of them like bit by bit. Okay, hope we are still following. If you have any questions at any point, please write it down in the chat, as people have said, with the letter Q, so I know it's a question. All right, so before I was asking us to find out if we're part of the product research session yesterday, because you need to have learned about research, and you should have also learned about, okay, how to analyze your research and be able to segment your audience into distinct individuals. So I believe, or I'm taking it at this point, that we already know how to do that because there was a previous session about product research from yesterday. So you know how to carry out research, You know how to find out who your real audiences are. You know how to pick out your audience and segment them into distinct individuals. So take note of that. So this is a cool example of a user persona, right? I have several other examples. So that's the interesting thing. You just need to know what needs to be on a user persona. You can always design your own in a different in several ways. There are several ways you can put down your user persona. So that's why in our activity for today, I would not want to see any two persona looking the same. I want us to be creative about it. All right. So this is a typical example of a user persona. This image was gotten from UX Collective. So why do we need user personas? You might want to ask yourself, okay, why is it important? All right. So creating user personas will help you to understand your users' needs, your users' experiences, their behaviors, their goals, right? It also helps you, to step out of yourself, right? To be able to understand that you being the designer doesn't automatically make you a potential user. It makes you have that at the back of your mind at every point in time. It also helps you to recognize that different people have different needs and expectations, right? So if you're designing for user A in Abuja, the expectation to be different from user B in Lagos. That's what a user persona does for you. It helps you recognize all of these different people and their different needs and expectations. Okay. Other reasons why we need user personas is user persona will help you to identify all the users you are designing for. It will also make the design tasks you have at hand less complex, right? Because if you are going through all the design process, or we just talked about ideation and all of that, and yet you've not been able to streamline who am I designing for, then your design task still seems very ambiguous, still seems very large or very complex. But you being able to streamline that and say, okay, this is the user, this is a potential user, this is the template of a user that I'm designing for. It helps you understand better. It helps you break that complex task into bits, right? And other reasons is it helps you to achieve the goal of creating a good user experience. Why would I say that? For you to say something has a good user experience, it means that it is solving the problems that the user had, right? So, and how would you find out the problems this user had? Or how would you find out the frustration or the goals that this user have, right? You can only do that by doing your research properly. And after doing your research, being able to come up with things such as your user personas. All right. So there are different perspectives of user personas. There are different perspectives. All right. Sometimes you can look at it from the goal-directed personas, right? And these ones are focused on what does the user want to do with your product, right? What does the user want to do with your product? They don't want to buy and sell. They don't want to share money and all of that. What are they coming to do on your product? Another perspective you can look at it is their role. Okay, what role do they play on your product, right? Are they the business owners? Are they the merchants, or are they the consumers? Are they the customers, right? That's a role-based persona. Role-based persona. We also have engaging personas, right? These ones are where you as a designer become more active by looking into the lives of these personas. Like when you're looking into, okay, what's their background? Okay, what do they do for a living? Or where did they live, what are the different stories they have, what are the different challenges they have faced before, right? Being more engaged or more inclined with the person that you're creating, all right? Then a different perspective you can look at it is the fictional perspective. I know when I asked about a definition, someone mentioned an imaginary user, all right? So when you say imaginary user, that's where fictional personas come in. Though it's not really advisable to use fictional personas, right? Like the imaginary users, like the ones that are based out of assumptions. So it's advised that you use real users, right? When creating your personas, right? Real users that you got from your research. Unlike using assumptions or unlike coming up with them yourself or making, yes, just, uh, so yeah, fictional personas, they don't emerge from user research, unlike the others, but they are made up by the UX team or the designer, right? And most of the time, unless when necessary, it's advisable not to assume as a designer. There are other ways of classifying user personas, right? You have the primary personas, which are the primary target users for your design or your product. You also have the secondary personas, all right? They share many goals and needs with your primary, but are not as, let's say, like important as your primary target audience, okay? Negative persona, as what implies negatives, those are the users that you won't be building for. Okay, those are the users that you are sure, you are certain, okay, this set of users would not be using my product. If you know, and you can streamline and be sure and say, okay, these people, I'm sure that children between 5 to 16 would not be using my product. Yes, it will help you communicate with your team better, or with your product team to make better decisions. For instance, a period tracking app, right? What would be an example of a negative persona? A negative persona for a period tracking app would be guys or the male gender, because you know, okay, they would not be using that, right? So that's like an example of a negative persona. Okay. A quick question: Can so if I'm talking of primary personas, right? So can anybody tell me who would be my primary target users if I am building a food delivery app? Okay, yes, some people corrected me that some men use period tracking app, okay, to check their girlfriend period. All right, that's pretty interesting. Okay, all right, that's nice. All right, so some men to use. Okay, cool. That's really nice. All right, so question. Tell me, who are the primary target users, or yes, for a food delivery app? For a food delivery app, primary target users. Restaurant owners, okay, that's one. Working class people, okay. People that can't cook, all right. All right, go on, go on. I want to see more. Consumers, basically. Okay. All right, so those are some people who like food a lot, busy people, food consumers. All right, great. So who would be a negative persona for a food delivery app? What would be a negative, what type of users would probably be on a negative persona for a food delivery app? housewives, babies, full housewives, a chef, okay, a baby, okay, babies and children. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there. Children. Okay, great. All right, another example. So for goal-directed, another question, sorry. For goal-directed personnel, for an app like Uber, I know we'll be hearing Uber a lot. What would be the goals of the users? What are the goals of the users? What are the goals of the users? Users that use something like Uber to access rides when they need, to save time, okay, to hail a taxi conveniently, to get to their destination in comfort, get an exact move from point A to B. Amazing. You guys are doing so well. Yeah, ease of transport. Great. Okay, so that's goal directed. So we know the goals, ease of transport, comfort. So we can segregate or separate our user personas by this. All right, from your research, you can separate, okay, these are users that are interested in comfort. These are users that are interested in lesser stress. These are users that are interested in, okay, maybe ease of or swift movement and all of that. Okay, so that is separating by goals. All right, when you're using an app like Uber, right, by roles. All right, what are the different roles you'll be looking at for an app like Uber? Different roles. Driver, passenger, driver, customer. All right, great, amazing. We're following. I like that we're interacting. Awesome. All right, so what should a user persona consist of? What should I see if I'm looking at a user persona? Or what should it consist of? All right, we have full name or title. Okay, full name or title of the person. That is one important thing that should a user persona should consist of. All right, so you need to be specific about it. Create a name. It could be, you can even pick up a name from a real user that you interviewed or that was a part of your research, right? Pick a name, be specific about it, and also pick a title. Oh, is the person a driver? Is the person a passenger? Is the person, pick a direct or specific title so that we know, okay, how you are, or like what type of classification you are using to segregate your persona, right? So before you conclude on a title or on a name, ensure to consider the message you want to send to your audience. Ensure you consider that the message you want to send to your audience. Another thing you have on a user persona is a short bio. A short bio. Short bio. Just something that states who the person is, right? Something that states who the person is. What does he or she do? Okay, a short bio of the person. All right. Another thing you would see in a user persona is or are specific quotes. All right. So specific quotes gotten from the user during your research. All right. This type of quotes, they capture the user's or the person's attitude. All right. So what's the service you're trying to render? Okay. Or I want to know. I don't know. We know what a quote is, like a direct sentence or like a direct thing that the user said. All right. So it answers the questions like, okay, why are they interested in your product? Or what types of solutions are they looking for? What really matters most to them? These quotes try to answer this. So note that all these questions, you should have gotten them from where? From your user research or your product research, right? So I think now you would even understand better the need for product research. It's very important because it cuts across every other process in the design thinking process. Okay. So these quotes can usually be a simple sentence that conveys the user's voice. All right. You can use real codes or real comments acquired by like through your user interviews or surveys, like something the driver said or something the consumer said. Oh, I I work from 9 to 5. Most times during my break period, I have some other things on my desk I need to sort out. So I don't have time to go for lunch, or I would just like to order for my food. So quotes like that from directly coming from the users. I hope you understand that part. All right, so in other, someone is asking a question. In other words, the persona can be used for testimonials. Not really testimonials in this case. Testimonials would be, okay, they've used the products, right? And they really like the product and they're saying something great about the product. But right now, user persona comes even before the product comes out for a user to start using it. I don't know if you get, I don't want you to mix it up, okay? Testimonials are more like reviews, exactly. They come after the user, after the app is out, it has been developed, and they're already using it. That's testimonial. User persona comes way before that. User persona just helps you know or helps you streamline which user am I designing this thing for. Okay, you're making a car racing game, right? Oh, who would be my typical user? Am I designing this thing for a 90-year-old man? Like, you need to, it helps you know, okay, who am I designing for? Who am I not designing for? Your ability to understand this is very important. Okay, if you don't understand it, then you would get your designs all wrong. All right, so let's proceed. So what other things does a user persona consist of? All right, the personality of the person. Please take note of this. The personality, I don't know if I mentioned this. Yeah, demographics. Demographics, what does it contain? Okay, this section gives insight about the person's background, lifestyle, things like age, gender, occupation, location. Are they knowledgeable? Did they go to school? Do they use technology? How long do they use technology? And all of that, right? So that's your demographic section. Then another thing is it like psychographics? I don't really know psychographics. I might check what that is. But demographics is, it talks more about location of the person, the age, gender, like how do I better explain what demographics mean now? Can someone help me out in the audience? Anybody?
Yeah, I think demographics are the basic details for you to identify the strata in the society a person belongs to, or the space in the society a
Exactly.
person belongs to. So the demographics is a male, is within the age group of this, and information like that. Their socioeconomic status, based on their salary, their socioeconomic status is high, low. Get that is demographics, the basic details to identify a person in the society.
Yeah, thank you very much. Favor, I hope there are gifts for all the people answering questions. And gifts for them. Really wonderful. Okay, so the next thing is personality of the person. All right. So you need to know why the user would use or react to your product, right? So this personality section would answer questions like, okay, does the person love to focus on the outside world? Meaning, okay, is the person an extrovert? Or does the person like staying indoors and all of that? Is the person an introvert? Oh, how do they make decisions? All right. Do they think before making decisions, or do they just jump into conclusion? Oh, like this personality section should contain different traits that your users have, right? Different traits. You know what traits are? Like, not, it's different from demographics now. It's different from age, gender. like traits that they possess. Or are they loving? Are they kind? Are they strict? Are they yes, so all of those personalities, those traits of users. Yeah. Okay, so this is psychographics. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. So another thing you need to have are goals. Goals. All right. So what is your user's mission? Okay. For a food ordering app now, you said our typical user is a merchant or a food vendor, right? So what's their goal? Their goal is to sell more food, to have more customers, make more money, right? So you being able to understand that is very important. So you need to have their goals on your user personnel. For a driver now, their goal is to what? To make more money, to have a good livelihood for themselves. All right. So you need to know what the user's mission is. Like, what do they want? Like, what would drag them or bring them to come and use your product every day? Right. So what problem do they have personally that are trying to solve that would bring them to use your app or your design or all that? So you need to know that. Another one is frustration. Frustration. Oh, why exactly do they need this product? All right. Okay, what difficulties do they face currently? Oh, I have a car, I have been driving personally, I do charter and all of that, but I hardly get customers, right? So that problem would bring me to an app like Bolt or Uber. Or, oh, I'm a food vendor, my shop is inside one estate like that nobody knows. Okay. Like, yeah, pain points, exactly. My food shop is inside one estate, one secluded place that so many people, or maybe the road is not motorable, that would bring people to my shop. So I would like to put my my food, if there was a way to put my food store online so that people can locate me, and a biker can just come, since the road is not much able, a biker can come pick the food and go and deliver it to them. All right. Or maybe, oh, I cook from my house, so it's not a place where users can come and sit down and eat. I just want them to be able to order the food and I go and deliver it to them. Right. So those are pain points, those are frustrations you need to know. So those are things that come up on your user questionnaire. Then another one is your scenario. Your scenario. Scenarios are actual examples of a situation, right, that they encountered, right, that clearly relates to the challenges that they face. Or one day I was stranded, rain was falling. I had an interview, I wanted to go for an interview, but rain was falling and I couldn't get the bus and all of that. Those are actual scenarios that would now tell you that, okay, this person or this user would need an app like Uber, right? So those are actual scenarios relating to the challenges. So scenarios are also important, right? So as I said before, all of these things, you need to get them from your user research, right? So it's important that your user research is what is very elaborate and you do it properly and you ask your users the right questions. If not, you will not be able to get all of these things and then fill them into your user persona. So take your time when you're doing your user research. It's very important. Okay. So yes. So we're moving on to the activity, how to create a user persona, right? Or let me say creating a user persona, because you will be the one creating it. So I'm going to share with us a Figma file right now. And I want us to open it up. I want us to open it up and work with it. Let me see. So I'm just going to share this with us so that we can work with it as quickly as possible. All right, so questions, please ask me questions if you have questions. Yeah, please ask me questions. All right, so let me. Everyone in the meeting. All right, I should explain the scenario part again. Okay, scenario is a real life example that has happened to that user, right? That would make the person that relates to the challenges the person is facing. Okay, so for instance, right, a like the Uber and please don't touch anything on the design board yet, please. Okay, so for instance, the user and the what's it called now, the driver scenario. Okay, the rider and the driver scenario. For a rider, for instance, a scenario can be, or I was trying to get to a location on a day that rain was falling. Okay, I had an interview and I had to miss that interview because rain was falling and I couldn't get bus on time. Okay, so that's a scenario that users would have, like an example of a real life situation that has happened, right, to somebody, to that user. That you can say, okay, oh, looking at this scenario this person had, right, the solution I'm providing can definitely solve this solution. All right, so in this Figma file, all right, we have different example or samples of personas, right? We have different samples of personas that we can have a look at. So just have a look at the different samples. So I want every one of us to open this thing on, click on the link and open it. I'm seeing just 12 people here, and I think we're 39 or thereabouts in the class. Okay, so these are examples of what a user persona looks like. As I said, the way it looks, you can design it any way you want. The most important thing is to have all the key things that I mentioned. Like they have to be on your user persona. I mentioned name and title. I mentioned bio. I mentioned goals, frustrations. I mentioned demographics. I mentioned personality and traits. So the way you design it, it's not really doesn't really matter how you design it, though you have to design it neatly and well arranged so everybody can see what you are creating. All right, so this is an example of user persona. Now that we have seen the examples, okay, so I want us to go to the next page. So to navigate to pages on Figma, look at the top left, you see pages, okay? You see pages. Currently, you should be on examples page, but I want us to go to tabs. I want us to go to tabs. So click on tabs. Click on tabs, everybody. All right, so if we are on tabs, great. Awesome, awesome. All right, so there are 3 templates of personas here now, okay? 3 templates of a user persona. All right, there are 3 templates. So I'm giving us a task. Use any of the templates. All right, take notes of all what I'm saying. Duplicate any of the templates now. We should know how to duplicate. Control D or Command D, whichever one you're using. Okay, duplicate any of the templates. Right. Once you duplicate, all right, duplicate the template before you start editing, please. Don't move the originals. Duplicate. All right. Okay, duplicate the templates. Any one of the templates you would like to use for your own. There are 3 examples. Duplicate the template and then create a user persona for a typical user of a food delivery app. So of a food, you can either choose a typical user of a food delivery app. As we mentioned, you can do it by roles. The roles are maybe the food vendor or the food consumer, okay? You can do it by roles. You can also do it by, what's it called? Goals, all right? You can do it by goals. You can also do it by goals. So there's food delivery app. There's also, you can choose food delivery app. You can choose ride hailing app, okay? Food delivery app, ride hailing app, all right? You can also choose the one that was discussed in the previous session. What's it called now? Food, no. Apartment booking. Okay, apartment, I think it was apartment booking app, all right? First task, duplicate any of the examples. I know some people are scattering my board. Hey, some people are just scattering my board, right? Just duplicate an example, Control D or Command D. Drag your own duplicates to a section so you have space to do yours. All right. Duplicate a template. Then create a user personas for any user or any typical user or potential user of either a food delivery app or a ride hailing app or an apartment booking app. So choose anyone: food delivery app, ride hailing app, apartment booking app. Okay, some people are lost. Olayinka, all right, let me go again. Okay, go to Figma by clicking on the link I just sent. All right, there are 3 templates. Okay, there are 3 different templates you can use. Pick any of the personnel templates that you like. Pick any one you like. Then use the templates to create user personas for either users of a food delivery app or users of a ride hailing app or users of an apartment booking app.
I can see a lot of people are already duplicating so many boards.
People are duplicating.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are working already.
All right. I can see names like John Reese, Ayastar. We have David Paula. Nice one.
So the major point is to take note of what I mentioned must be on your user persona. Okay, you need to have a name or title. You need to have the bio. You need to have the goals or core needs. You need to have the frustrations. You need to have a quote from the user. And you need to have personality of the user. Then demographics, don't forget that. Demographics. So if you choose food delivery app, I would be expecting to see a user persona for maybe, okay, a food vendor or a food, like the food consumer itself, right? Or myself. Or if you choose ride hailing app, I'll be expecting to see a persona of the driver or the rider, okay? If you choose apartment booking app, I'll be expecting to see persona of the apartment owner or the apartment booker, or what are they called? Yes, the person booking the apartment.
So I think we just need.
So I know.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, Favor, you wanted to.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I know we probably didn't do research, or I was not in yesterday's research session. If not, I would have picked the same topic that was used in the research session. Maybe we would have had some ideas to be able to fill in all of these things. But let's just think, we've talked about ideation, so I believe our mind should be racing and we can be able to generate some of these things. All right. I mentioned that you have to think of real users, right? Real users, and most of these things must or should be gotten from your user research, right? Tech literate. Okay, does the person use or know how to use tech gadgets? Okay, if you are building a mobile phone or a website, would the person know how to use it? Okay. How often does the person visit um or like come online? How often is the person in the tech space, like online the platforms? How often do the person um make use of online platforms? Okay, Maybell is lost. Okay, I'll take it again. Click on the link I sent above. It is the Figma file. There are 3 templates of user personas. Okay, 3 different templates. Okay, pick any of the templates you like. Pick any of the templates you like. As I said, creating a user persona is not really about like what it looks like. It's majorly, you can even do it on a Google document, or yeah, a Word document. The major thing is that it contains all of these key points I mentioned. Okay, but pick any of the templates and then create, try to create a user persona for typical users or potential users of either a food delivery app. If you're looking at food delivery app, you're looking at either maybe food vendor or the food consumers. Okay. If you're looking at a ride hailing app, you're looking at maybe the driver or the rider. Then if you're looking at an apartment booking app, you're looking at the apartment owner or the apartment booker, the person trying to book the apartment. So create a typical user persona for it. All right. Note that. So please don't forget, you can always reference examples that are in page 1, and always reference examples that are in page 1, but the major task is in page 2, which is called task. So I don't expect anyone to be on page 1. I don't expect anybody to be on page 1. Everyone should be on page 2. I don't expect anyone to be actively working on page 1.
Yep. So I was gonna say we should give a time. So once the time is done, we'll pick a few ones that are already completely worked on and read
Completed,
it.
yes, yes, we would. So I think I'll give them the next 7 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So they can just finish up quickly.
Right. 7 minutes it is. 7 minutes, guys. All right. I can see some nice ones here already. I see Johnny's from Iwo Road, Ibadan. I don't know if John got an idea.
Okay. I know some people were probably eating rice and chicken when I was talking earlier, or maybe like maybe they're doing something else, and all of a sudden they say, "Oh, everybody's working. Oh, let me just come back quickly." All right, make sure I'll take it again since there's still like 6 minutes left on the clock. There are 3 templates of user personas. pick any of the templates, duplicate it.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let me come in. I think where people are, I don't know. Are you guys finding it difficult? Let me just allow to unmute mic.
Okay, so I'm creating a hot point here. Can we all bring our cursor to this red dot that I'm creating? All right, can we all bring our cursor to this red dot? I want to clear up the board with our moving cursors. Or let me just hide the cursor. Where is that again? All right, so all right, I don't think anyone should be able to edit anymore. Right, so let me look for the complete ones. Let me just look for the complete ones. There are a lot of people on this board. Okay, so I have
I think a very complete one is to the right of the red dots, to the very right of the red dots. There's a very full one, complete one there.
all right, great.
Yeah, that's it. That one. No. You got that. Yeah, that's it. That one. That's it.
Yeah, the board is dragging. Like there are a lot of people. Right? All right, let me zoom in
All right, guys.
so we look at together. All right, so yes, you didn't give it a name. That's like -1 point. But okay, overall, this is a very good attempt. I don't know who did this. What did the sign indicate? People, can you help me with the name of the person that did this?
I think that's Valerie. I'm not sure. I think it's Valerie.
All right, so people can still type. I don't know how does Sigma has not have stopped editing access, but people are still typing. Okay, so this is by Valerie, if I'm sure. I'm not so sure, but if you're the one, just type it. Type the one I'm looking at right now. Just type it in the chat that you don't make it. Okay, so from what I'm looking at, though there's no title, but I can see that she's making it for food delivery. Okay, a food consumer, right? A food consumer. A food consumer. So there should be a name, a clear name, and a clear title. You actually put the title but lost connection. Okay. This is a food consumer. Okay, so this Valerie said she did this. Rotsi
Okay,
said
Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa,
I
not
don't
Valerie.
know.
Sorry, it's Vanessa.
Okay,
That's the name.
Vanessa.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
The bio, a physically challenged
Vanessa, sorry.
software developer in her early 20s who suffers from obesity and works remotely from her apartment and is very tech savvy as she constantly communicates and works online using her phone and computer. So core needs food to be delivered on time, okay? Needs food to be affordable and healthy, okay? Needs a 24-hour food delivery service that always also offers weekly healthy meal plans. Amazing. Okay. All right. So how is some people are claiming this particular user persona, or so I don't know who did what. I don't think
No,
there
no, I
should
think
be.
it's Valerie. It's Valerie. The one you see that I think what happened is Rotten duplicated Valerie's board and something like that. But this one you're on particularly is Valerie because my cursor was on it when she was working on it as well. So I saw it Valerie. Yeah, so please let's go ahead.
All right, no problem, no problem. Okay. So this particular one, Deborah Sully. Okay. Yeah. So frustrations, the current food delivery app she uses takes too long to deliver. Okay. Another one is she finds it difficult to find restaurants who offer healthy meals. And the ones she finds aren't on the delivery apps. Okay. Another one is the few food delivery apps she finds are usually beyond our budget. Yes, yes. Don't worry, Roxy. I'll still look through your own. I think your own will be somewhere here. Don't worry. I'll look through your own as well. Okay, so this very great work. I really love that you were able to come up with this in the short time. It's actually really impressive, and I'm very glad you understand the concepts. Okay, and you're able to come up with this, the quotes, the bio, the needs, the frustrations, even the demography. Like it's really amazing. Well done. Like this is a very, very wonderful job. Okay, so I have another one here that is Dennis Shaye. Hey, nice. So Dennis is single. He's a male investment banker living in Lagos. His core needs are daily delivery of food, a weekly plan of affordable meals, fast and reliable services. Okay, frustrations, disappointment from vendors, great. Expensive meal plans, good. Slow and unreliable vendors. That's very, very, very nice. So, quote, my work schedule makes it hard to go out to find food since I can't cook. So, I really need a reliable food delivery vendor. Wow, this is very, very great. So, I don't know who did this. I think, Roxy, maybe this is yours. Okay. Um, okay, so which other person completed his or ours? I'm not sure. So, this is not complete. Okay, Moju Mojubola did the one I just read. That's Dennis Shaye. Nice. All right. I'm looking out for other complete ones. Let's see. Okay, this is.
I think there's one with a yellow picture down.
All right. All right. Quote: the proof of knowledge is not knowing, but application of what you know. Okay. Uh, so a quote should be something directly from the user. All right. Um, unless you are creating a user persona for something different from what we are talking about. So I gave three things. I said food delivery, I said ride hailing, and I said apartment booking. And I'm not sure this is like any of that. Okay, all right, so just keep looking. Okay, so this is another one. I really want a platform where I could easily get Chinese food. Oh, cool. All right. So John Rice is a third year university student living in Ibadan, Nigeria. He loves Chinese and Italian food. After a long day at school, he loves to treat himself to tasty food, which he orders. The goal, he wants to get food delivered to him after a day's work. All right. Yeah, this is pretty impressive. Though it was not complete. So yes, there is a person that needs to be complete. All right. Any other one? Any other one? I know the bodies are really we're a lot on this particular board, but I'm really glad. I don't know if we know how to export on. Okay, so this person took his time and changed the picture. So this is really great. Okay, bye. Bisola is 28 years old, product manager who is very busy and doesn't have time to cook every day. Upon it, she needs to travel more to oversee our other projects in other states of the country. She needs to spend less time cooking and more time to work. Okay, her frustration, she does not have time to cook every day. She needs to travel more. All right, so there's a difference between frustration and so you need, I think you duplicated the same thing for frustrations and corny. Okay. All right. So the last point, which is the food delivery apps are not reliable in terms of time and good food. Yes, that's a very good frustration. So I would accept that. So I mean, this is really great work. It shows like I'm very excited that we all understand like the concept, what I talked about today and everything. So I would love us to, if you can export on Figma, all right, to export on Figma, all you have to do is click on your frame, and when you click on the frame, you see this, click on your frame, make sure you're clicking on your own frame, okay? You will see this export button to your right, export, then this plus sign, all right? Click on the plus sign, click on the frame, click on the plus sign, then you see export, you'll be able to export your frame, okay? So I want us to export all of our frames so we can share it with me even outside this class. All right, so I'll be able to take a look at each one of us on Twitter or LinkedIn, anywhere on Instagram, just share what you worked on. So that's how to export. Yes, even in view only mode, you can still export unless you want to maybe complete it before exporting. I don't know, I'll still give edit access once we're done with this session. But right now, let me just conclude with everything I have. I'll give edit access so we can edit it a little bit more and then export and just share what you did today in class with all of your friends on social media. Okay. So we're done with that. So key takeaways, things I want you to remember or things you should not forget. Okay, things you shouldn't forget. A useful questionnaire is always more than age and job title. It helps you understand the motivations, fears, concerns of your ideal customer and market, right? So it's not just about putting age or putting job title, right? But being able to understand the motivations, the fears, what will make that customer use your product. Okay. Don't just come up with personnel, but base them on real people. Base them on real people. It's always tempting to just come up with personas with just you and your colleagues in your office, that is not office. Just come out with just form any user and use as a persona. But please don't do that. Okay, carry out your research and base your personas on real people. So proper user personnel should not be based on fictional user stories that your company is inventing, right? Avoid using your own biasness, right? But ask questions and get real users, right? Real users. So are there any further questions? Please, I'd like to take a further question. Is there any further questions? While people prepare their questions, you can connect with me on any of my social media channels to answer any further, like to share your work with me, or you have other questions at all. So, but for now, if you have questions, please ask me questions, comment, questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
All right, I'm hearing you.
Okay, thank you. This is somehow not related to the particular session you just finished, but the reason why I chose to ask is because you're like the first person was introduced as a UI UX designer. Most people that have been coming have been product designers, and somehow I'm not sure if I do, but I just want to be sure. And is there a particular difference between a product designer and what we call a UI UX designer? That's my question. Like, is there a clear difference? Really?
There isn't. Okay. A A product designer is someone that can apply UI and UX strategies to build a product. Okay. A product could be a physical, maybe handmade product. It could be a digital product. It could be any product. So anyone can be a product designer, right? It could be like product. A product can be digital. It could be physical, like an hardware, a table, a chair, a phone, an app, a website. But UI UX is strictly for, like for me, I classify it as digital, um, digital websites or apps or all of that. I try to stick with UI UX. I think it's just, let me just say, like naming convention. Okay, I can just call myself a UX designer, right? If you call yourself a UX designer, it still shows people that you understand all the UX processes, right? If you call yourself a UI designer, it shows people that you understand, okay, all the UI design processes. If you call yourself a product designer, it shows people that you understand both UI and UX, right? I can call myself a product designer. If I see product design roles, I apply. Okay, I don't have to tweak. I have a CV that shows the product designer. I have a CV that shows UI UX. I think it's all, you can call yourself what you want to call yourself. Let me just put it that way. I like being clear as to UI and UX. Okay, but the most interesting thing why people say product designer, I think one major difference is for a complete product, you have to think about the business aspect as well. Okay, so a product designer would also be bothered about the business aspect of that particular product or the entire life cycle like of that product. Okay. Yeah, I think that's like the major difference I can pick out. But apart from that, yes, it's, to me it's just like what I feel like calling myself or what any person feels like calling him or herself.
Thank you so much for that answer, Oladamola. Yes, Ayomide, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Dami, for the session. I wanted to ask. I was just thinking, in the area of creating user persona. Of course, we've talked about user research and all, but for example, from what you have said, user personas most the way it's seeming, it's more what's it called? Like you think of it. I think in your definition, you said you said something about fictional. I'm sorry. Please, will you make the slides available for us so that we can just go through very well
Yes.
later? All right. Yeah, you said semi-fictional. All right. So the question I wanted to ask, for example, if I believe that we'll be doing case studies and we'll be trying to develop um, apps and websites and all. So, for example, those case studies now, it's not looking like we'll go into a normal or formal user research. Like based on the user research they've been teaching us, it's a very very deliberate and it's a very very deliberate process and time taking and also money consuming. So let me just ask the question. So what I just want to say is that, for example, those projects, if we are trying to come up with fictional characters, is there not will there not be a point that we get stuck and it would not help us to really really look at the needs of the users to be able to create a very holistic and comprehensive user persona? I don't know if you got my question.
Yes, I get your
Yeah,
question.
thank
Okay,
you.
so the first thing I want to correct is user research doesn't have to be time consuming and expensive. No. You can even if it's as simple as sending out a survey, that is still user research. Okay, if I send out a survey and I get 50 people to fill my survey, out of those 50 people, if I ask them the right questions in my survey, I can be able to pick one and use as my fictional user and say, okay, this person said, okay, is 20, 20 years old. He says he's a doctor. He says it's this. These are the goals he says he wants. These are the challenges he says he faces, right? So when I say semi-fictional, I still hydrated on the fact that they have to be what? Real users, right? So no matter how little time you have, okay, you still need to maybe conduct user research. And if you cannot conduct user research, I mentioned here that there are different perspectives of user persona. And there is a particular type that is called fictional persona. And this one is the one that are based on assumptions, okay? So it's in this one that is based on assumptions that I think you might run out of ideas, okay? You might run out of ideas, but you shouldn't run out of ideas. And that's where ideation comes in, right? That's where ideation comes in place. It helps you not to, as a good designer, you should be able to ideate in such a way that you don't run out of ideas to use for your fictional personas, right? If you are researching for, even if it's a new idea, right? For every new idea, someone somewhere has solved that idea before. You just have to find out. Okay? So that's research and user personas, they come hand in hand, right? So if you're researching, you're doing maybe competitors analysis, you're conducting user interviews, you're finding out, okay, who your users are. And if, for instance, you can't do all of those things, you should still be able to, even if it's just a small Google search, to search out, okay, who are the people already doing this thing, or who are the people that might be interested in using this app? What would their age range look like? What would their location be like? Right? So some of these things are things you should be able to come up with, and you shouldn't run out of ideas. I don't think you should, even if you're making them from your imagination, so you're assuming. As a designer, a UX designer, a product designer, you should be able to ideate and think of as many as possible.
Thank you very much, Oladamola, for that answer. And just to add, if I can, so as regards fictional personas, you can also, just like Dami also yesterday talked about user research, you can get data from secondary research. That's research that was conducted that is in line with what you're also trying to solve. So you can always get data from that to create your fictional character. So just boils down to the process that you need some information to create user personas. And yeah, thank you. I think Bob has a question. Bob, this will be the last question of the day.
Okay.
Hello, Bob.
Hello.
Okay, he seems not to be, okay. He seems not to be unmuting himself. Okay, hello, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to ask, get clarification on the mindset or the process generally. So you mentioned role-based persona. So after you figure out what you're trying to do, the type of product you're trying to build, and